is, if you don't know what human docking is, it's when two uncircumcised men put their penises together and then they...
Ladies, gentlemen, them, they, and all, it's showtime! Ha-ha! Although, when we do say showtime, we do use that term very loosely, as what we've got in store for you today, well, our presenters have really no idea what they're gonna say because they're all unprepared. So strap yourselves in and brace yourself as the Some Nobodies present PowerPoint Showdown. So start that round of applause as we welcome this week's keynote speaker.
Hey there. Welcome to a cool and quirky episode of PowerPoint Showdown. My name is Zach. Thank you for joining in for a very special conference. Now, tonight you're going to be hearing from three professionals discuss our topic, the viability of podcasting as a career. Now, with me as always, we have Dylan, Line, Some Nobodies Line at Vorpal Words.
Yes,
he's always just full of letters. And we also have Michael Colby, straight from Hogwarts. How are you, sir?
Don't start with me.
I will not start with you. Trust me. Okay, now I will be our keynote speaker. My name is Zach, and I'll be leading this conference. Now, for those who are joining us for the first time, each speaker will be given roughly 8 to 10 minutes to present our topic of the week, the viability of podcasting as a career. Now, after each presentation, there'll be a short question and answer panel. And of course, we invite any member of the audience to ask questions as well. We love all the questions possible. This is going to be a little bit of a weird one because normally we're in control. So we'll see how this goes. Now, after the full presentation, the panelists will vote to see which speaker will be awarded the $50,000 scholarship and the Nostalgia Prize of the Week, which I've already opened, thanks to Michael Colby's persistence in this. And what we got here is we have the Pink Panther on for PSP, which is nice. There's no scratches. It also has the little slot card inside, so you can get stuff cheaper, I guess. And
that's my personal UMD of that.
Why'd you send it to me then for this? You're just trying to win it back?
Yeah.
That's cute.
I want you to sign it so that when it comes back, it's signed by you.
Yeah, I'll definitely sign it. You might want to check which mic you have set up here, just real quick. But I think that I have some slides that are ready because I am a professional in the topic, the viability of podcasting as a career. And once again, feel free to comment and ask as many questions because I am literally a professional in this. Everyone you're going to be hearing tonight is a professional in this. And knowing this is, International Podcast Day, we thought, how better than to teach people how to the viability of podcasting as a career. I'm going to remember that at one point. Now, listen, there are some things that you can learn, some things you should not learn, but things that I find important are recipes for viable podcasting careers. Now, unlike the other guys, I'm not going to talk about friggin' Joe Rogan. That's real low-brow humor, all right? If you bring up Joe Rogan, obviously you're punching down. Not a big fan. What I'm going to talk about, probably workshops, education, direction, and really just how to put all that stuff together in a nice big old pot and make a Susan of viability. Next slide, please. Now, what are the ingredients? Obviously, if you're working with a recipe, the first thing you need to know are, what do I got to have? What do I got to get? The first three, the main three, hard work. What's that? Writing, recording, editing, mastering, publishing, promoting. It's literally everything. All of everything is in that one thing, hard work. Bring it with you. Next, you're going to need some perseverance. Nails and kneecaps built this podcast, but fists and hammers run this show. You're going to need hammers, nails, fists, and kneecaps. All that wrapped up in one thing, which is perseverance. Bring all that. That's your second thing. Now, the third thing you're going to need is desperation. And if you thought artists weren't starving before, you ain't seen nothing yet. Have you ever talked to a podcaster that is like, I'm doing very well thanks to this podcast? We're all starving. We're all artists. Yeah. But I have the recipe for viability, and it's going to be partly on the next slide, please. So go ahead. once you have all your ingredients and you're ready to get down to business, what do? You go to the hot zone. That's what I call my kitchen. And you bring all your kitchen tools. What you need? A microwave or something else that you can use to record your voice and very important opinions. I scream into my microwave daily. Luckily, somebody put a microphone in there, so it catches most of that audio files. Number 2, a voice. How do you scream into the microwave? You got to use your vocal business, or really just any kind of audio format. But it is an audio medium, so mimes need not apply ever. Especially now, there are too many mime podcasts out there. I don't know how they're doing better than some of our podcasts, which are indie. Really, they got that Joe Rogan kind of bounce. Who knows? But seriously, mimes, cut it out, man. You're crowding the scene here. Now, the third thing you're going to need after the ingredients, after the kitchen, and the motivation is the friggin' internet. Or some other platform which you can distribute your vapid, useless white noise. Because honestly, no one's going to listen to it. You'll be very proud of it for a little bit. Then you'll be very annoyed by it for a while. Then you get back around to being proud of it again. Most of which, it's always white noise. Next slide, please. Now, I'm going to abandon the recipe metaphor because it was kind of hard there for a second. Because really, once you get the ingredients and you cook them, what are you going to do? I'm not going to talk about plating. That's no longer a recipe. Now, what I'm going to say is don't forget to stay limber. Sitting in a chair for hours a day is scientifically proven to cause health problems. And why not do it in a profession which doesn't provide health care? And there are some quick and simple, easy exercises you can keep your podcasting and your vocal cords really just limber. Number 1, you want to pinch. You want to go forward and backwards, kind of right around the bottom of the head area. Obviously, you're y'all. If we got any boating podcasts out there, you'll get this reference. And then we're going to have the roll. And that's this guy right here. This is probably one of the 3 most important of what I'm talking about currently. Because really, it's so stressful out there. Next slide, please. Stay limber. Drink water. Now, remember, network. I cannot stress that enough. As a podcaster, this is important. Guests are on every single show you can possibly can, and plug your work as much as possible to expand your network. How are people going to know about it unless you go on their show and tell them? The only people listening to podcasts are podcasters. The only way to get your name into their ear is to be on their show and promote their show. It is as easy as pie, which I have a recipe for, and I'll put the link in the show notes. Now, a real quick way that I'm going to show you how to network. If you look at this little diagram over here, what you're going to see is little gub. Now, stay with me for a second. Now, gub, you can do a couple things. There's derived and relations. They go in and out at really some contrived angles here. That might not make sense unless you're a chef and you can stick to this limbering metaphor that I'm working on here. You can go up to gub or down to wood. Okay, I read that way wrong. Gub is up. Woo is down. This is going to be figure 2.2. If you look at the show notes, you're going to see figures 1.0 all the way to 2.3. 2.2 is the relation network expands. I think I nailed that one. Next slide, please. Now, the secret step-to-step process for guaranteed podcasting success, it's revealed here for the very first time, people. I've literally never put this slide out into the open before. I have 7 Instagram accounts. I have 15 Twitter accounts. Have I ever put this slide out here? Have I ever talked about this? You wouldn't know. You don't follow me. But let me tell you, this is the first time I'm going to reveal this. Now, real quick, A, grab your cat. B, roll that bitch over. C, I don't know what that is. Maybe get a saw or something. D, find yourself a robot because cats are scary. E, you're going to put that cat or hamster up in your sleeve because check your blood pressure. F, find yourself a ghost. Get in a solid hug in there. Number G, I think this is that device that you put cows in to hug them before you slaughter them so they're not too upset. I don't know who did this, but Claire Danes starred as that actor. I think her name was Temple Grandin. We got stuck on this before. I'm not going to get into this business. Number H, you're going to get that fucking robot. Once you're calmed down, have him squeeze your arm. Just make sure your blood pressure is good. Next slide, please. Temple Grandin. I think that's her name. Now, if you have co-hosts, remember this. One of you will have to carry all that fucking weight. All that weight. One of you is going to be very happy, gets a lot of writing done. The other one is going to have to pack on some pounds because you're going to have to carry a lot of the vocal weight of this. Statistically speaking, only one of the 3 podcasts is actually any good. The other 2 were begged from one to be on a show with them. Here's me. See that diagram? That's me. Everyone else, that's the closest to my back. But here's the thing, they're getting the most warmth. Because if you know anything about the back hugs, that's where they're the warmest, on your back. My front, it's always cold. Back warm. Now, above everyone, there's everyone else. Now, they're clinging on to dear life. They know what I got. They know what I can do, and they're just hanging in there. Now, on top of everyone else, on these, everyone else on these shows. Oh, I get it now. Yeah, I really messed that graph up once again. I thought that I had this. Listen, everyone else on these shows, they're all back there. I think each color represents a person on a show. I'll get to that later. Maybe. Probably not. Next slide, please. Now in conclusion, folks, you learned a lot. I talked a lot. We cooked a lot. I've shared some. But here's a couple things. You can either be a sellout. You can surrender your soul and integrity to mammon. Mammon? Well, Dylan, I know you've
It's your
done this already.
presentation.
Well, I know, but I've used this from one of your slides.
Pronounce it however you like.
Maman, in exchange for materials, actually material wealth and materials, if that's what you think makes you wealthy, or material wealth. Or you can wallow in obscurity. You can realize passion alone doesn't pay the bills, and you can hook yourself up with a wife who works at Whole Foods, spends way too much time there just so you can leech off of her health insurance. Because GD, podcasting is important to me. And to some people. And if you want to know about the viability of doing it as a career, take those 19 easy steps. Find yourself some elbow grease. Get yourself about 6 laptops. Find the internet. Hook up with somebody. Don't care who. And then really just get that guac made. I think that I've spent my time on this. I think that I've managed to answer all the future questions. But just in case, bring it on if you have any questions, people. Oh, I saw Dylan's hand first.
Yes, thank you for the presentation.
Oh, you're welcome.
You keep a microphone in your microwave?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we have a food ASMR.
Okay.
It's for foodies, yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
The food does the ASMR, or you do it while you're cooking?
I don't cook inside of a microwave, Dylan.
Oh,
Come on, dude. That's
okay.
where the food goes.
I don't watch your show.
Well, you should really. It's an audio format. You listen to it.
Oh, well, that explains it. Okay.
A visual microwave ASMR. Oh, boy. I love it. Michael, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Does my microphone sound better now?
It
Yes.
does. I'm so glad.
Okay. Now my other question was, you said you weren't going to talk about Joe Rogan, but then you did.
No, I didn't.
Is that you did?
No, I didn't.
You did for a little bit.
No, I did not.
You absolutely 100% talked
Nope.
about Joe Rogan.
Nope. I'm literally going back in my mind right now. I never spoke about it. You've spoken about it twice already.
You were talking about how independent his podcast was.
Don't remember any
is
of that. Never said that.
Is that because you knew that the cops were coming if you didn't talk about Joe Rogan? Because it is illegal to not talk about Joe Rogan when you're talking about podcasts.
Mhm.
I have no idea what you're speaking of. I've never spoken about or to Joe Rogan about this or anything else of note.
Okay. And also, how do you get your presentations prepared? Because you seem to not have any idea of what you were talking about.
Yeah. So I make 3 or 4 at a time, depending on which avenues I want to take or which shows or podcasts that I'm going to be on. Sometimes I reuse the wrong parts of slides, the wrong actual slides, or even the wrong presentation sometimes. If you had any podcast yourself, you'd know it's a pretty risky business. Risky business.
Thank you, I guess.
Well, hey, listen, I appreciate you guys' comments and concerns. We're going to get on with these professionals. So I don't know if we can get one more to slides up. Let me see if...
Well, Zach's has already been removed from backstage, so...
Yeah, so if we can get... Now, listen, these aren't the normal producers for Jeff's show. We actually brought our producers in to make sure that this runs smoothly. And our producers
they're bad. Our producers are bad.
Yeah, kind of notoriously.
Producers are really...
We should have just let Jeff's producers do this. Because ours have no idea what they're doing.
Clearly, hold on.
A lot of the show really revolves around slides. So without the slides, a lot of this really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the good thing about this is we have half the time that we normally do. So, like, technical issues aren't going to really be a problem.
No, not at all.
Luckily, we can just talk right through them.
We can talk because I have podcasts here. And as someone who is one of the few people that has podcasts and can let you know how to do them, I can talk constantly about a lot of things. One of the things I can talk about is the top left of my screen says, as a guest user, I can only upload 2 slide decks. I don't know what that means.
Oh, he did the same thing I did earlier. Oh, man.
So, Dylan, how's your day going?
Oh, it's going fine. I think I have a presentation up that I can do, actually.
Oh, perfect.
I think we managed to work
We got rid
out.
of Zach and...
This looks like it.
He's
Yeah, all I did was go in and delete the previous 2 slides that I made for the last time we were on this channel because it filled up all my spaces. Then I uploaded my own, like this one right here. We're not going to waste time with an introduction slide because this is too important. Part 1, starting your podcast. If you haven't started, it's already too late. Sorry. The zeitgeist has passed you by. You're never going to get famous. Yeah. 2, a product. Your podcast isn't a work of creativity. It's a product to be sold, or a prodcast. Also something that you use to sell something, like you poke and prod. 3, marketing competition. Everyone else is doing the same thing. You need to do the best, samesiest thing. And a business model. If you're not making a living with your podcast, what are you even doing? We're not doing this for fun. I don't have a good time doing this. I'm here because I want you to go to patreon.com/some nobodies and sign up for whatever tier you like. Let's go to the next slide. Maybe I can. Can I go to the next slide? I can. This is our team. I'm the producer now. Our team consists of 3 people. I'm not going to talk about myself. My name is Dylan. I didn't introduce myself earlier. That's okay. But we have Jenna Doe. She listens to the most popular podcast, so she can be sure that we're talking about the same thing as everyone else. And Susan Bones, audio expert. Make sure you can hear all of our mouth sounds, breathing, and blowouts. I'm only going to do that once. I apologize when everyone is yelling. These are very important things to cover. We overwork our staff, so each of them has to handle all of this together. Usually you have a team of like 24 people doing this. Podcasts are hard work. You really have to get a lot of people involved to get your production off the ground. Let's go to the next slide, please. I'm going to the next slide, where we're going to talk about how it's illegal not to talk about Joe Rogan if you're talking about podcasts. I am legally obligated to talk about him. The previous presenter did mention him twice. Once when he said he wasn't going to, and then once randomly again. Joe Rogan's not pictured. He wishes he was this person's lower face. Because when you're a gorilla shoved into the shape of a human being, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, Joe Rogan. And shit, I don't know. What else? I don't know. I don't listen to his stuff. Let's go to the next slide. However, I do know about Joe Rogan is he's edgy, because you got to be edgy if you want to be on it. I'm going to tell you my favorite 9/11 joke eventually. I'm going to tell you my most controversial take on my least favorite minority group, podcasters. They're insufferable. The conspiracy theory I believe in, I do think that there is a underground like bomb shelter under the Denver International Airport. That place is huge, and they already have subterranean tunnels, so why not? My thoughts on Roe v. Wade. Now that's row like row a boat. I would absolutely beat Wade in a rowing contest. That dude's weak. The role of women in society. I mean, exactly the same as Michael Colby's. Michael Colby's role in society, not his opinion on it. My favorite 9/11 jokes, I tell you, but it's only a fraction of a joke, so it's not really worth it.
Boo.
Let's go to the next slide, please.
Boo.
We're going to talk about targets a little bit. You got to target your podcast towards a demographic. Now, the average spent per customer. Oh, I see. The average that each podcast spends per customer. What? Oh, never mind. I got distracted by something shiny appearing on my screen. Don't worry about it. It happens when you have multiple windows up because you have problems focusing on a single thing. But the average podcast spends $50,005 per customer. We call them customers in the business. I don't know if you knew that, but I do. Let's see. 70% are women. 30% are, well, no. 70% have long hair up in a bun, and 30% don't and wear a collar. I'm not exactly sure what those icons are trying to deliver here, but I think that's a pretty even split in society between collared shirt, short hairs, and crew neck, long hairs. I'm getting a little amped up. I apologize. Any age, 60% of them are 20 to 34, and 40% of them are 35 to 40, and that's because they execute you if you listen to a podcast after the age of 40. I know that for a fact because I know Michael and Zach had to give them up because they're both decrepit. Now, the interests of the average podcast customer are cars with only 2 wheels that go sideways, steaming mugs of something, and maintaining a heartbeat, which is why you don't listen to a podcast after you're 40 because they kill you. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Got to make more shows. You got to make more shows. Zach has 73 new ideas a day, and he won't let up until we do them. Seriously, help. We're trapped in a podcast hell. Though a hell, at least, would have some interest to it. A purgatory is far more likely because I'm just sitting here chained to my desk like a monkey in a keyboard, just typing nonsense. And then every million years or so, I spit out a sonnet, and Zach swoops over like a fury and goes, "Ha ha!" like a news editor, and then he swarms off with all the other versions of Zach. I don't know. I'm building out a mythology here. But my expected income from podcasting is $20 per year. Go to patreon.com/Some Nobodies to boost that number. And we usually get about almost 44,000 new podcasts released each year under the Some Nobodies label. And that's several thousand a day.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's it. All right, next slide. We're going to talk about investment because we talked about how much money you're going to make and how much money you're going to spend. We're going to talk about investing because I think that's like the third action you can take financially with your money. You buy stuff, you save stuff, you invest, which is kind of like buying stuff, but it's all like legalized gambling that people in suits on Wall Street have like bribed government politicians to make okay for them. Anyway. So 40% of your investment is going to go to Roadcaster. Is that what I wrote? Roadcaster Pro. You need this. You'll never be a pro if you don't buy one.
True.
Is that a car?
It's a microphone.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. Microphone. Get a microphone. It should probably be 40% of microphones are Roadcaster Pros. 35% of your money needs to go to Facebook ads. Nobody does anything except Facebook on the internet. The Facebook's ads work. You just need to spend a lot of them. Spend a lot of the advertisements is what I said there because the context is lacking something. And 20% of that goes on merch. Before you launch, make sure you have a ton of merch. It'll sell fast. Trust me. Just like we got this little Some Nobodies pin. It's pretty freaking cool, and a Silicon Angels sticker. And I think I had a Silicon Angel around here somewhere, but I don't know where she went. Anyway, yeah, merch. It's important. Go to patreon.com/Some Nobodies. You can buy some of our merch. It's pretty cool. I'm going to go to the next slide. Thanks. I hope I didn't blow out the audio because I did promise to only do that once during this presentation. If you have any questions, you can go to patreon.com/Jack Billings. Also, throw him a bone, why not? Or look at Jack Billings Presents on Instagram, jackbillingsofficial@gmail.com. Make sure you capitalize the G and M because you're sending it to a man who's over 40 years old and doesn't know that it doesn't really matter. Also, F and record player in music note. I don't know what those images, I don't remember why I put those images in there. I think they're just like clip art. But this presentation template was created by SlidesGo, including icons by Flat Icon, infographics, and images by FreePic. Please keep this slide for attribution. I didn't take that out because I don't understand how to remove text from a PowerPoint slide. And I think that's it. I don't think I have any more. No, I'm done. This concludes this presentation on the viability of podcasting as a career. And I will take any questions now. Zach.
You know, I take a lot of notes during most of your presentations because I really want to circle back around. And the only really thing that I wrote was, what was the fraction joke of 9/11?
It was approximately 9/11ths of a joke.
Yeah. Would you mind even just telling us that?
The joke is that I was supposed to tell a joke about September 11th, which is a national tragedy. And in order to sidestep a potentially problematic moment, I told a joke about how it's a fraction instead. Because I will never forget fractions.
Okay. I see that.
My Twitter handle's on screen, so I'm not going to risk too much.
Michael Colby, do you have any questions?
Michael, your hand's up, kind of.
It has been.
I had a question, but I forgot it because I'm so old
Oh,
that
sure.
my
Okay.
brain isn't working
Awesome.
like it used to.
Okay.
Well, and that's fine because really we're kind of running out of time anyway.
Yeah.
So let's just Dylan, great job, my friend. Great
Hey,
job.
thanks.
But Michael Colby, if you
Me too.
want to just go ahead and do what you're doing.
Now, the main thing that you're going to get paid with in your podcast is Bitcoin. Everybody knows Bitcoin is worth tons of money, always will be. No chance of it going bankrupt or anything. So what you want to do is you want to know how much or how many Bitcoin. I don't know how it works. Can you make with your silly ass podcast? How to make them double triple, which is a basketball term, I believe. Next slide, please. Hang on. You're probably asking yourself, self podcaster, who's yourself, can you make cash, real money, Bitcoin doing this, or just Bitcoin, crypto, NFTs? None of this makes any sense to me because I am over the age of 22. So not only do I not have money, cash, real money, I don't understand Bitcoin. I don't know why I made my presentation on this. It doesn't make any sense to me. I bought crypto when it was $6,000 a piece. They're now worth 22 cents. So I am bankrupt. Unfortunately, that's where all of my money is. So I just have to hang on to it and hope that it goes back up one day. Next slide, please. Hey, you, past you, what makes Bitcoin crypto real or not real? What I'm going to do is I'm going to blow your mind and melt your podcast with the hand of my visual aid. Now, as if I wasn't confused enough just from my normal state of being not only old, but also malnourished because I can't afford food because all of my money went into crypto and nobody's going to Jack Billings' Patreon and giving us like actual real money. So here's what's going to blow your mind. Give me some money, please. Next slide.
Sick.
Now, what you have to focus on what do you want or need from your podcast show? What we call it in the business is the podcast shows. So if what you need is Bitcoin cryptocurrency, then what you should think and focus your mental and positive vibe towards is having crypto. The best thing about crypto is they took crypto and they made paper notes and also coins that represent the crypto that you have. So basically, they turned crypto into money, trying to get away from using money and into using Bitcoin, which is supposed to be on the computer, but it's not anymore because it's real. And your podcast is going to make you the real Bitcoin coins and monies that they are. Next slide, please. However confused the scene from your life appears, however torn, now there are more words here, but again, I'm about to pass out and throw up from lack of food and water. Also, I don't have plumbing in my house, so it smells very bad in here. Muriel Eureka said this thing. So now we're going to have an open group dialogue about what we should do. We'll do that later. Next slide, please. Now that that's out of the way, behind us, let's get back to the conversation about Bitcoin and crypto And what you can do with your podcast to make more Bitcoin. I'm slightly unsure as to what my goal is. I just keep doing jobs, which is what Rachel Wise said. It's what Zack Wiseman said. And I say it all the time. I don't know what I'm doing, obviously. You can tell by the way that my crappy slides are written and the words that are coming out of my mouth, because not only are you confused, I'm just as confused as you are. All I know is that if you talk enough, if you have 3 monkeys talking into microphones, at some point they're going to make a podcast that makes us enough Bitcoins that we can afford to get our water turned back on. Next slide, please. The 3 ways that I make Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, NFTs is my show, which is also your show, because everything I do, we do together. It's a podcast, and if I can do it, so can you. It's not hard to make a podcast. You can just do it. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to make sense. And most of them don't. It's real easy. My show, your show, the same thing I said before, only this time, again, depending on who's reading it, the other one from before is the one that we're talking about now, which is you or me, depending on who's reading this, which is both of us. So we're all in this together. Let's make a podcast. Unlike some of the previous presentations, it's not too late. You can make your podcast now. Joe Rogan. Next slide, please. Now, finally, in conclusion, the easiest way to make a podcast is to put a microphone on a park bench out in public. It will attract white men to it. It's like a trap for them. They can't resist. If you put a microphone with a computer anywhere out in public, you will have a pile of white men who want to get their opinions out to you. It's so easy. And then all you have to do is hit record on Audacity or Reaper or whatever you record on, and you have a podcast. It's very easy, and eventually someone will give you Bitcoin and or cryptocurrency or NFTs or some other thing that's real but also somehow not real at the same time. That is my presentation. I hope it was concise and understandable to everyone. I don't see why it wouldn't have been. If there are any questions from the panel or the audience that's watching this, please just let me know. Dylan, some nobodies, at Vorpal_words.
Oh yeah. I thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. That was my question.
Okay.
Yeah, normally we would go into a very lengthy back and forth about how these presentations go. We are running a shad bit low on time, so we're going to have to get out of here. If you would like to be on the show, if you are a professional of any topic whatsoever, and you want to make sure that you can help us help other people learn and teach and do things such as the viability of making podcasting a career, check out Some Nobodies. That's where all of our weird stuff is. Thank you folks very much. We really appreciate any and all attention. Dylan, he's on Twitter at Vorpal Words. He hangs out with me on Some Nobodies. Michael Colby is absolutely the genius behind Jack Billings Presents the Haunted Complex, as well as the Unhaunted Complexes. There are also other complexes that are haunted and or apartments. You can find them all. We also have an award-winning show called No Time to Binge. Until next time, folks, we have an outro video, which we should probably play now so people can get going and do their show.
I can't help how I can't help how I sound. This is just how I sound. I went through a fucking war, for Christ's sake. Now, you're making this very hard for me. Thank you for watching PowerPoint Showdown. Today's winner will receive a $50,000 grant courtesy of Some Nobodies Patreon. Congratulations on your win! Join us next week for another showdown. Thanks for providing that big prize, guys.